Statistically speaking, all ukulele owners have one thing in common: having no idea how to actually play a ukulele. So today we're going to fix that, and we're going to make what you're doing sound super impressive even if you've just picked up the instrument, okay? It's all going to happen on really one string, all right? This is going to be the A string. Now, most ukuleles, standard ukulele, is tuned G, C, E, A. So we're working on the highest string of this very bottom string here, right? Now, all we have to do is memorize one super simple pattern, okay? We're just going to do the first like 5 frets here. We're going to play open. We're going to go 2 frets higher. We're going to go 1 fret higher and go 2 frets higher. Okay? So, open string, 2 frets, 1 fret, then 2 fret. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add that to the open string set, and we're going to kind of make chords out of this, like this. Now each of these is going to have technically a different name. In fact, like if you just go right to the 3rd fret, that's a C major. You maybe already know this. If there's a C major chord in whatever song you're playing, and if you're playing a ukulele, there probably is, all of these notes are always going to sound good over it, next to it, on top of the other chords in the progression. All right? So again, to reiterate, open note, 2 frets, 1 fret, then 2 frets, okay? So the frets would be open, 2, 3, 5, but it's actually good to kind of think of this in terms of whole steps and half steps. A whole step is 2 frets, a half step is 1 fret. So when I say 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, that's the same as a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. Whole, half, whole. Now, like I said, we can add this to other chords. Any of these, right? This is an A string. That means when we play it open, it's an A. The great thing about this pattern is we can actually learn the names of the notes just by going through the alphabet. A, B, C, D. Okay? Now, we can add these on top of chords we already know. All right? For instance, we've got that C chord. We can kind of dance around and kind of play into it. Instead of just strumming a C chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit different. Okay? It's always going to sound good. Promise you, right? We can even add these to other chords on top of it. Let's take this F chord. Right here, something like this, right? You can put your ring finger on that 3rd fret or the 2nd fret. Show off that reach to impress the ladies, right? Number 1 pickup tip right here. Get a super big stretch going on and then just chill and wait for somebody to notice. No big deal, right? So we took a note, we went a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. Let's actually do that once more. So let's just start here where we ended it. Go a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. Okay? Now you'll notice that instead of just playing them single note-wise, I can add that open string set. Now when I do it together, sounds pretty good, right? What you've done is you've just been tricked into playing a scale. No one's ever tried to play a scale on a ukulele before. It's very hard to pronounce ukulele over and over again in the term of regular conversation, but I'm trying it. And I'm also trying to teach a scale, or at least trick people into playing a scale. And this is really the point of scales, is it's not something you have to drill over and over again. It's something that you just have to see. And then once you can see it, you can practically add it to anything that you're doing, right? For instance, that C major chord, once maybe you kind of like learn a little bit more about music, you'll know a C major chord is just any combination of a C note, an E note, and a G note, right? The cool thing about those 3 notes, C, E, and G, is these strings on a ukulele, G, C, E, again, doesn't matter what order it is going to give you those 3 notes. So whatever note you play on the highest string here, it can be a C, an E, or a G. It's still going to make the same chord, but it's going to sound a little bit different, all right? So now what we did before, where we went the open string, a whole step, half step, whole step, just repeat that, whole step, half step, whole step. Those are going to give you all the notes in that key. And like I said, it's just the alphabet starting on the A string. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then eventually you go back to A again, one more whole step. Kind of brings you back to where you started. That's a full octave. Octave is 8 notes away. So you can think of it as the first note in the scale, the second note, the third note, the fourth note, the fifth note, the sixth note, the seventh note, and the eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or just start familiarizing yourself with the names of the notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Okay? So like I said with that C major chord, any combination of C, E, and G are going to work. So let's find the E on the string. Just count through the alphabet with that pattern we just did. A, B, C, D, E. Well, notice that this fret right here, which is nice enough to have a dot on it, usually to indicate odd-numbered frets. Sometimes that's different on a ukulele. Most of the time that's true on a guitar. But this one, for instance, has a dot on the 10th fret too, and then a double dot on the 12th fret. That can be confusing. So as a general way to look at it, usually they kind of denote odd frets. In this case, especially on the 7th fret, we can see that, all right, this is a C. A, B, C, D, E. It's actually an E note that goes in a C chord. Remember, C chord is C, E, and G. So we can actually just add this and use this as a replacement for this chord, or maybe not even a replacement, an alternative, right? This chord and this chord are the exact same chord, C major, whether you're on the 3rd fret of the top string or the 7th fret. It's just a different sounding C major, okay? So one example we can do to use this is like, all right, let's say we have chord progressions like C to G to F back to C, then C again, right? A lot of times that'll happen where the last note in the chord progression is the first chord in the chord progression too. So what we could do is we could use a different C in that case. So we start with this C to the G to F, right? That's one way to kind of maybe end the song there. Sometimes having a different note on top of the chord, as we say, is a good place to end it, especially when you kind of like rake through it, and then you do the classic look off, and then after that, maybe put that stretch back in there, just to kind of give a little bit of a free show to passersby and whoever else is around to listen to your amazing ukulele playing. So we can do this with any of the notes in this scale, all right? The A minor scale is what this is called. And again, might be confusing, be like, I thought we were playing in C. A minor is the scale that really goes well with C. Maybe that's all you should kind of like memorize for the time being. The great thing about that though is remembering it as these steps, as a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, and another whole step. So whole, half, half, whole would be maybe a way that you could remember the intervals, would be the word for it. You can do that on any string and find that that minor scale, the same scale, right? We can do it on E, right? So if we were in a different key, maybe we're in the key of G or E minor, same difference. We could just start here and then do the exact same thing. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. But aside from just having the open strings do this, we can do this absolutely anywhere on the fretboard, whether you're playing a ukulele, whether you're playing a guitar, a bass, anything on a piano. All of this stuff stays the same. That's why ukulele is a great companion instrument, aside from just being something that's kind of like easy to pick up quick, right? So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing in A minor, but we're gonna do it on a different string. Okay, like I said, the very first string that you'll encounter, some people call this the 4th string, which again I take issue with. The string closest to my face is what I'm thinking of right now. This is the G string, all right? Now, 2 frets higher, G, G sharp, A. Here's the A on that string. We can really just start the exact same thing. 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets. And that's gonna give you the exact same thing as if you started here. Just the way the ukulele is tuned, it has that kind of feature, I suppose. So you can play the exact same stuff, you know, maybe with that F chord. Or you can just play them open. All right? What I would suggest doing is maybe just taking like the first half of the scale. That's why we started out just going open 2, 3, 5. And then just kind of really just getting down on those 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 notes. All right, really kind of be able to get to those, see those without having to like really maybe hunt and peck for them, and then start adding them to chords. All right, like a G chord, if you played this one before, you can pretty easily add any of those notes to this existing chord. Open 2, 3, And again, what might happen is every time you change a note, the odds are you're changing the name of the chord. But one thing that I think is important to focus on, especially if maybe you're first starting out, is to not get hung up on the name of the chord. Just kind of take a bass chord, like I said, like a G, and then play around that chord to just get familiar with stuff that's going to sound good. And again, this is almost like a shortcut, a hidden super secret ukulele shortcut, just by starting with those first notes. And then once you have that down, go 2 frets higher, get that 7th note, the 7th fret in the game. And then also remember the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. Do it backwards. E, D, C, B, A. Works great for sobriety tests. You might as well get a lot of that practice in too, because Lord knows if you just picked up a ukulele, it might be driving you to drink. So basically that's all we have for today. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. You may have noticed I'm rocking out my awesome Emeryld Ryders merch, which is my amazing band, which doesn't have a lot of ukulele in it, but it does have a lot of great music in it. So I will link you in the description there. And like I said, if you have any questions, hit me up. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.